Hi, my name is Mmuso.
And I'm Maxwell Boko, and we are Mmuso Maxwell. We started off as interns at David Tlale in 2015 through 2017. After the internship, we decided that we have similar aesthetics, we might as well join forces. The way we conceptualize our collections is that at the beginning, even long before we start working on the collection, we paste up on our wall like pictures that inspire us over time. And then gradually, as the time is going, something comes from it, and then we're like, oh, I see a thread there, I see a thread.
And also trying to put like our cultural influences
All
in
the time.
Our collections per se. So yeah, I think that also helped our collection to have a much stronger voice.
Yes.
My name's Carlo Kibson. I am a clothing designer mostly. The one thing I'm focusing on now is called Klipa Denim. Before I started Klipa, I wrote quite a lot of things down, what I wanted to try and achieve. But to summarize it in maybe to try and keep it to about a sentence, is to make an urban, African, contemporary male clothing. I mean, it changes every day, depends how I feel by the place I live in. So the place I live in is very important actually, if I think about it. That's how I make things, by where I live. I actually started making clothes by accident, actually, in a way, because it didn't really occur to me that that's a job initially. I always make things because I wanted to have things that other people didn't have, so I started making things, but I never really realized clothing was a profession.
My name is Papy. I'm the founder of the brand called Urban Zulu, based in South Africa right now. When I started making clothes, I wanted making clothes for myself and for people just were like me, and there's that very strong thing about being African that's I'm all about, Yeah, so when I was trying to look cool and relevant, actually creatively started to get cheap clothes and patch them up with an African print on the shoulder, on the collar, and you can have whatever you're wearing, be it Gucci, whatever things you could be wearing, but you ain't being like me. It's like something that you don't have.
So our current collection, like the other collections, we started off by pasting pictures that we were connected to at the time on the wall. So basically, it's our African heritage mixed with contemporary culture to just complement the modern woman. This collection, we wanted to design for women who encompass these domestic features, but at the same time can still hold positions in politics, economy, in the society, despite this notion of this deep-rooted patriarchal notions in our country that these women say can't do both.
Well, for me, I would say it's important because when I look at my grandmother, she sort of started a tavern from absolutely nothing, and now the business has been going on for 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. So for me, that's a serious inspiration because she sort of defined everything to sort of have this sort of business, and it sort of supported each and every person that I know within our family.
When I wanted to do Klipa, as I said, I was writing a bit about it, trying to plan what it is. I don't know if the name came before the writing or after the writing, but what I said to my friend Edward, I said to Edward, this is what I want to do. Help me think up a name. And he instantly said, you must call it Klipa. Well, to explain to people if they don't know, Klipa is 100 Rand. It's like a slang name. It's a slang for 100 Rand. But then there's a lot of, with 100, it's 100%, hundreds, a whole lot of things that I feel positively about. Fabric sourcing's not too hard for me. Sometimes it happens because it's what I can afford, and then I make it work. And then sometimes it's what I'm inspired by, what I see, and what I can find. I mean, we are limited here, but also within Klipa, I always want that part African, that feeling where you relate to Africa. Like, why I choose the fabrics I choose. What I want is, if you're in a sports stadium anywhere in the world and you're wearing Klipa, firstly, that you fit into that sports stadium. Like, you fit in with the other people, but they know that you're from Africa.
We have also used fashion as the base of life. We've been living through fashion. I don't know how else to really make money. This is what I do. So I need to adapt to the demand that is being created. You know what I'm saying? I was now coming back to the boy that started. You see it a lot in the current collection. It's very edgy, the colors are nice, it's popping, you know. I think I just went back to that guy. I'm like, you know what, I've been following the target market. I've been following what people want. We are struggling a little bit with just the idea of self-love. You know, as human and as Africans, we find any possible way to identify which that divides us than to embrace which that unites us as a human. It's either you're too white, it's either you're too black, it's either you're not South African, it's either you poor, you are not English. We just got so many things we look for that really divides us. For me, I felt like there was a world where oneness was actually possible in these urban places. Zulu, it's from Izulu, which is, in Zulu, it means heaven. So it says urban heaven.
Okay, when I first went to design school, actually we had an industry in this country that was employing a lot of people. The time that I was at school, we were under boycott. So actually South Africa had to be very self-sufficient. So, of course, everyone who was dressed in South Africa was basically dressed by South Africans. So that's where I started, okay, when I was at school. And since the new government and less sanctions and opening up to China and trading, our industry has absolutely been decimated. It's absolutely, from employing thousands and thousands of people, it's really broken right down. The creation and the creativity in this country is like crazy compared to other places that I've been to, in my opinion.
Our contemporaries, they are bringing it. The problem here is the retailers that are not there. So basically now we're just creating for Instagram and hope to get a client there and there. Even the local consumer, that's another problem. They would rather consume international brands than our local brands. That's just the way it is. And our government is not helping because Zara and all the other international retailers, they're being let into the country. And then you get our local consumer saying, you want to charge me that for a jacket when I can just get it at Zara? What they don't understand is that's a designer piece and it's a personal thing to me. It's not just run-of-the-mill that's produced in Bangladesh or whatever. There's something to see with South African fashion. There's some I think we're coming up like as a whole of young designers. You have to grow as a collective because you make more progress if the whole industry as a whole is strong as opposed to one strong designer. Then you bring attention to that particular location, South Africa in this case. You know, the way we look at it is like every time we see like Tebe getting successful, we're like, yes, that door is open. In the next year or two, that could be us. Rich is changing the narrative and the idea of a local consumer about local brands. And we're like, yes, when we launch our store, some ground has been played for us to come through.
It's very young, it's very beautiful, and it's coming. It's actually growing up very faster than you know. There's a lot of people that have made it for other people to believe they can make it, because that is important. You need to see other people. There is those brave first people that have made it, but there is also the other people that say, wow, even Zulu made it, so they did it like this. So, you know, in 20 years, we gotta have a lot of dope, super brand coming from this country.
For people who are maybe interested in doing this job, well, I think you've got no option. If you are interested in doing this job, you'll do this job. If you're not, you won't. You'll find a way to do it. It's not about where we live as much as who we are, perhaps. That's how I find it. I told you earlier, I can't escape. I can't run away from doing this job. It doesn't matter what it gives, what's on offer from outside. What it offers me inside is bigger. So I have to do it.
For me, to be honest, sustainability is not really a choice. It's like it doesn't make sense that there's a other way. Just from a rational or logical point of view, if it's not sustainable, it won't last. And why do stuff then and have to redo it or fix it later? Just do it properly, kind of from the beginning.